So our guest this month is Julie from Julie's Kopitiam, and we're so delighted to have you, Julie. And for those of us who maybe don't know so much about you, how about you just tell us a wee bit about yourself?
Hello everyone, so thank you for having me on. Firstly, I'm very excited. So I am Julie and I own a Malaysian restaurant in Glasgow. It's just on the south side of Glasgow, and I love all things to do with food, chatting and having a nice time with food. So I think this is where this will maybe kind of come in handy for this little chat. So yeah, very excited to
You very much appeal to us and our audience, I think. How did you first get into it and how did your job come about?
I would love to say that I just had this idea one day, but I think I'm just quite greedy for food. Like I think it kind of came along because there's certain dishes from Malaysia where my mum's from that I just really wanted to eat. So I was like, oh, right, okay, actually nowhere does this. Oh, my earring's falling out. There's nowhere that's doing this in Glasgow, so I'll just do it myself. So that's kind of how it came about. And I used to work in retail for years and years. And do you know what? I really liked it because I think I quite like the people aspect of it. And then I just kind of thought, I went on to MasterChef in 2014, which was terrifying. It was just honestly one of the most mind-blowingly scary experiences of my life.
It must have been amazing though, was it not?
It was great actually. Like it was also, I was obsessed with the show. Like I was one of those people that would like watch it avidly and wouldn't like want any teasers or anything like that. So yeah, so I just love it. And then I went on and came back and ended up leaving my job in retail and ended up working with a wonderful woman who owns Cafe Strange Beer, which is a very popular cafe in Glasgow too. And she was just amazing. And I just kind of landed on my feet and found this woman that was willing to teach me everything, that was really patient when I was in a kitchen, because it's just so different from your home kitchen. You just kind of have to get used to like big scary things and hot things around you all the time kind of thing. So she was amazing and she taught me everything. And then I went on to be a chef for about 2 years. It wasn't actually that long. And then I decided that I was just going to go for it and I was just going to open up my own wee kind of kitchen. So yeah, this is how this journey has unfolded. It's a very kind of non-expected one, but it's been very fun.
You just made it onto the Michelin Guide again, 3rd year running.
I know.
And you've only been open for 3 years, so you've made it every year, which is just amazing.
And I always think the Michelin Guide is like fancy white tablecloths and like kind of fancy cloches and stuff, but the Kopitiam is very much not like that at all. It's kind of haphazard and I love it for that. So yeah, I'm very, I just can't believe it actually. As much as it goes on every year, you still don't really ever not get surprised. You're always just like, oh my God, like this is crazy. How has this happened again kind of thing. So yeah, it's just been amazing.
Your background is obviously Malaysian cooking because that's where your mum's from, but you've also, your maternal grandmother, she was a baker, is that right?
Yeah, she was actually, which is a little known fact. And even to me, actually, I only found that out kind of later in life when my dad was talking about it. I think he sometimes feels a bit like he wants to offer something to the kind of cooking table because me and my mum are so food kind of focused. And he turned around one day and he was like, well, do you know that your gran was a baker? Like she used to bake for all these bakeries in Glasgow. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. It's in saying that my dad can't bake either. So it's not like a genetic trait. But yeah, so she was a baker in Glasgow. So I think she used to do a lot of your kind of like old fashioned like Empire biscuits and like all the kind of amazing classics.
So is it some of your mum's recipes that you use in the Kopitiam then? Are they kind of the go-tos?
Yeah, exactly. Like my mum's there's a very like specific way of teaching cooking in Malaysia, and it's not done by like recipe books and by weighing things out and having like a certain, I don't know, percentage of this. It's all very much by feel. So I like to call it tactile cooking. So it's when you kind of like use your taste, use your smell and like hearing things frying and stuff like that. And then it gives you more of a sense of kind of like cooking through your own senses, which is really nice. So my mum kind of taught me through that. So there's never been really like any written down recipes. It's more just been like, okay, you put this in here and you put this in here. And it should, at the end of all of these processes, taste like this.
I bet it's a really hard question, but what is your favourite meal to cook at home? Would it be something Malaysian or is it something completely different and random? Like, what do you like making when you're just at home and you want some comfort food?
do you know, I'm just laughing because I know what it is straight away. Like I think of it every time. And it's like, it's not even like an exciting dish, but it is one that everyone loves. It's actually just carbonara. Like I love carbonara. I could eat it breakfast, lunch and dinner. I just love it so much. And I hear like some other chef answers and it's just so kind of profound and big roasts and things, but mine is actually just the humble carbonara.
With cream or without cream, or what? How do you do it?
I actually do it without cream, and it's a recipe that I got when I went to a little trattoria in Rome. And I actually went with my mum and we just had like, oh my goodness, we just walked around Rome and ate everything that was inside. And one of the things that we had was in a trattoria, it was quite near the Colosseum, I think. And it was really roasting. And we're like, you know what, let's just go in and just eat away kind of thing and stay out of the sun for a couple of hours. And it had this gorgeous like silky carbonara, had lots of the guanciale through it, which is like a kind of smokier bit to use than pancetta, which is delicious. And I think they must have had the best of eggs because the sauce was so like golden and rich and kind of silky. And I ended up asking the guy, which was, I'm just not that brave to do that, but I just loved it so much that at the end of the meal, I was like, I promise I will never use this on a menu ever, but it's just for my own satisfaction. Can you please tell me a rough guide of how you did that? And he told me, and he gave me a kind of rough estimate. So this is why it's my favorite dish of all time. It's this kind of like from there. So I love it. I love it so much.
You'll have to share it with us because you just can't get a carbonara. There's honestly nothing.
And it's so good. It's just technically raw parmesan, and there's like so few ingredients in it as well. So I love it. It's amazing. It's definitely my favourite one.
And in terms of a favourite restaurant in Scotland, what would you go for?
Oh, I think I find this question harder because I love so much. Like, if I was to kind of treat myself and go for something a bit more out of the beaten track and something that was like a bit of an event, I would definitely say Inver. Inver is this kind of gorgeous. It's got a kind of restaurant attached, but then they've also got their rooms which are in these bothies, and they're just so nice. And it's owned by just the nicest couple ever. You just feel like you're in their kind of like extended living room. But the food is just amazing, and she just uses things from kind of local farms and local shellfish, and it's just that kind of classic way where you're eating all this food and you're like, oh my god, I can't believe this is all from Scotland. So probably here for something a bit fancier.
I really want to go.
Oh, it's amazing. It's just like it's not even that far away from kind of major cities like Edinburgh and Glasgow. It's just so amazing. And maybe in Glasgow, I would probably say I'm going to go complete opposite because it's the place that I go to the most. And I just love going to the Uni Cafe. I just think it's amazing.
What do you get?
It depends what I'm in the mood for. Quite a lot of the time it'll be an all-day breakfast. And
Always.
then other times could be in the mood for a baked potato. I love a baked potato. So these are two completely opposite end of the spectrums, but I love them both dearly. So
baked potato with tuna and cheese is one of my favourites.
That's actually my go-to one as well. Baked potato, tuna and cheese, cup of tea, that's me happy.
You've not really been open for sit-ins for much of the year at all. And
no, not at all.
It's been really hard, but you're finding ways of getting through it. You're offering the at-home service, and you're trying to do what you can. Like, what's next for you and for your cooking journey then this year, hopefully?
So it's funny you say that because I feel like we've just kind of come to that point in the new year where I'd normally maybe plan in November, December to be like, right, okay, this is roughly what we're going to look at this year. But because of the pandemic, I was like, do you know what? I think we should take it a bit slower and actually let's not have loads of grand plans. Let's make sure all the staff are kind of just quite calm and having a good time over Christmas. And that's been lovely. So now we're just in the stage where we're like, I guess, kind of longing to serve people on plates. I mean, that's one thing that I'm really missing. I could definitely, just making things look nice in a plate as well and not putting it in a box with a lid would be very nice. Yeah, totally. So I think this year, actually, for the Kopitiam, we're always just kind of looking to, I guess, keep on new dishes and things like that. But hopefully we are looking to maybe open a sister restaurant as well. Hopefully with the pandemic easing up, which I'm going to say when it does and not if it does. But yeah, we're hoping to open up a sister restaurant, and we've got quite a lot of nice plans. I've always had an idea in my head to have lots of kind of small restaurants rather than big places, because I feel like I just like them better when they're a bit more personal. So we're looking at doing things like that, and also writing some recipes. So it's going to be a very exciting year. I'm very much looking forward to it, and it's nice actually, because as much as the pandemic has been awful for most people, I feel like it's just been a kind of time to slow down as well. Don't get me wrong, there's still days where everyone can't be bothered and you don't want to see the same four walls that we're all in, but it's given everyone a lot of time to calm down. So I'm actually looking forward to maybe slowly getting back into things rather than a big kind of work overload.
Yeah, just take it slow. Yeah. Obviously more time though to be at home and give you time to work on yourself, have some me time, because normally you work crazy hours in that tiny kitchen. So what are you enjoying, sort of reading, watching, listening to? Are you doing any of that at the moment? Anything nice?
Yes, actually, I am. Although in saying that, I actually still love cooking in lockdown. That's been my thing. I would have thought myself that I would kind of get sick of it, but I actually still love doing it in the house for breakfast, lunch and dinner. That's been kind of my go-to. But just also been watching lots of films and like learning a couple of languages and just doing stuff.
What languages?
I want to try and learn French. I mean, I think we all have like a kind of very basic knowledge of it, and mine is terrible, silly. So a little bit of French, and also trying to learn some of one of my mum's dialects that my gran speaks in Malaysia as well. So that's been my other thing, albeit not very consistently. It's been like once every 3 months I'll pick up a bit kind of thing. So, but things like this I would have never even have thought of before lockdown. So it's been really nice just to do that. It's been lovely, and that intent I try and find positives. So. Yeah.
Yeah, there haven't there, and I'm sure you want to just hop on a plane to Malaysia to see your family over there as soon as you can.
Oh, so much. Well, I'm just seeing lots of like photos that my cousins and my aunts and uncles and stuff have been putting up, and it's just making me very homesick for Malaysia. And it's the year of the ox this year, so I've been seeing lots of nice food go up. But I just can't wait. I think I actually did a little Lunar New Year celebration with my mum outside.
I saw that. The food looked amazing.
It was great. It was just in the communal gardens out front, and I just thought we may as well just try and do what we can. So she put on a fire pit out in the garden, and obviously I don't know if I'm sure we'll remember the snow from this point, but the snow was really deep for the past couple of days. And we were barbecuing these satay skewers on a fire pit out in the garden in the snow. And I took some photos to send to my family and to my cousins and things. And they were like, what on earth is going on over there? Like, what are you guys doing? So we're trying to celebrate it in some way. So that was our kind of trying. Yeah, exactly. Kind of like a winter barbecue.
Would satay be the traditional sort of thing that you would eat at Lunar New Year, or what do you have any sort of traditions?
It's maybe not traditional for like, I guess for maybe if we were to put it in terms of like what you would have for Christmas dinners, maybe not like that, but for my family it's quite traditional because we just love satay, and it's a really good like hawker stall around the corner from my gran's house, and it's just this guy on the road stall that just does lots of different kind of types. He does pork and beef and chicken, and we did beef this year for Year of the Ox, which is delicious, and it's just so nice. It just tastes so much better when you've got it on the barbecue as well. You get those kind of like flame grilled smoky flavors. You just marinate the beef in like loads of kind of a little bit of palm sugar as well, actually, which gives it that like caramelization, some spices and some ginger, and it's amazing. It's so good.
Oh, yum! And then do you top it off with granny's cakes or something afterwards? Your Scottish granny.
Yeah, exactly. Well, do you know actually what you normally have in Malaysia is these little they're amazing. It's almost like the texture of shortbread, but not as dry. And they're called little cashew cookies. They're just little kind of round things, but they're amazing. And my mum actually brought over a box of them from Malaysia, so she just gave me that the other day. And I'm just determined to make them as good, actually. So I might try and like mix the shortbread recipe with the cashew biscuit recipe.
Yeah, fusion. It's delicious.
Yeah.
And just finally, Julie, if you could just give us all a wee bit of hope, some positivity, what are your words to live by?
Oh, I think that's such a nice question, actually. And it's something I probably think about every day because I try and be positive as much as I can. I think I get that from my mum. But I'm going to go with what my mum always says, which is always just live and let live. So kind of like be calm and be peaceful and be happy for everyone. And I think especially in a pandemic when everyone's been so far away from each other, like one of the nice things I've been seeing is people kind of reaching out to each other in weird ways. Yes, don't get me wrong, like I'm sure the Zoom pub quizzes, we can all kiss them goodbye.
I can't do it.
Totally, but it's kind of made everyone quite creative to like reach out to people in certain ways, like going for a walk in the park and making, I don't know, I remember I met a friend actually Southside the other day and we went for a cinnamon bun and a coffee and there was just, we were so excited to have the cinnamon bun. I was like, we would never have found this an exciting activity before now. This is so incredible. So there is little nice things that come that are coming out of it. So yeah. And I think that I would probably stand back to what my mum always says to me. I remember her saying that to me when I was a kid, not truly understanding what it means until I was a bit older.
Julie Lin, thank you so much for being our first guest.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.